Malaysia has handed over the chair of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to the Philippines as it marked the end of the annual three-day summit that saw leaders of the regional bloc gather in Kuala Lumpur. Speaking to fellow ASEAN leaders, President of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., highlighted the association's 20-year vision and welcomed Timor-Leste, which is the group's newest 11th member. The three-day summit, which began on Sunday, brought together leaders from the ASEAN region and dialogue partners including the United States, China, Japan and South Korea. Let's take a listen in to what both the leaders had to say.
Pada hari ini, kita akan labuh tabir untuk tahun ini dan tahun depan rakan saya Presiden Ferdinand Marcos Jr. akan mengambil alih. Your Highness, leaders of ASEAN, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, oh what a relief.
As your chairship concludes, the Philippines is honored to take on the responsibility of leading ASEAN from 2026. We are committed to carrying forward your momentum and to implement on its first year the ASEAN Community Vision 2045 with purpose and resolve. We likewise remain dedicated to facilitating the further integration of Timor-Leste into the ASEAN.
Meanwhile, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese noted Australia's commitment to Southeast Asia's growth and security as he attended the ASEAN-Australia Summit in Kuala Lumpur. Let's take a listen in to what the Australian Prime Minister has stated.
And I'm pleased that today we've agreed the ASEAN-Australian Leaders' Statement on Conflict Prevention and Crisis Management. This important statement demonstrates our shared commitment to upholding a peaceful and stable Southeast Asia, guarding against conflict and other potential threats to the rules and norms that advance all of our interests. In a time of global economic uncertainty, Australia certainly does remain invested and committed to Southeast Asia's growth and prosperity.
We're once again joined by Hadkazu Sakai. Hadkazu, ASEAN has a new leader, the Philippines. What responsibilities will the Philippines now have to fulfill as leader of that bloc?
Well, Philippines has been having a very difficult relationship with China many decades because of the territorial water issues in South China Sea. And therefore, Philippines' implication to take a leadership in this area is actually requires Japan to get involved, because Southeast Asia has been always working hard on this very difficult territorial water issues, but there's no solutions yet. And the key word is rule of law. And I think China is aware of this rule of law, but China doesn't want to practice rule of law because China wants to push as much as possible to expand its influence in this area. Therefore, ASEAN's message to ASEAN's message to the China is actually implicitly we need the more balanced the discussions on this, because China always using stick of economic benefit with ASEAN. Therefore, territorial waters issues on the other hand, and on the other hand is the economic benefits. And ASEAN is always tempting, to the neither way. And so now Takaichi made a trip to ASEAN meeting this time. That was the first diplomatic trip to Takaichi. And Takaichi was working with the ASEAN so that ASEAN can support Japan. Japan can support ASEAN. Therefore, this Japan and ASEAN, the cooperation is perhaps very important to China.
Okay, Hadkazu Sakai, thank you very much for joining us here on the program. It's been a pleasure to have you on. We now move on over to the African continent, and Tanzania's semi-autonomous Archipelago of Zanzibar witnessed the commencing of early polling today as general elections get underway in the East African nation. The early polling exercise comes after months of claims by the opposition of a campaign to rig the elections in the ruling dispensation's favour, with the opposition candidate's latest claim being that the Election Commission is complicit in the rigging, allowing ineligible voters to cast their vote in early polls. The opposition also has claimed that there are significant numbers of deceased persons in the voter lists published by the Election Commission. They have also claimed that the early voting exercise is an excuse for the government to rig the elections in their favour. The main opposition candidates have been barred from running in this election, with mainland Tanzania set to go to the polls on October the 29th. Well, that's all we have time for this hour. Keep watching NewsX World for more international news updates.